has happened in the last couple of weeks. So the kitchen cabinets, uppers and lowers are in, and the island cabinets are in as well. Countertops are starting to go in. And check out the coffered ceiling. Look at that beautiful detail. This goes all throughout these two rooms. And then down here on the floors, we have got random width white oak with a beautiful finish on those. Again, all throughout the two spaces. These base cabinets, once they get doors, will also get a wood countertop here. That's going to be white oak as well, and it's going to look a lot like the shelving on either side of the fireplace. Hey, Chris. Jeff, how are you?
Good, Kevin. How are you?
All right. So floating shelves, all the rage these days.
Yeah, so we've got 2-inch white oak floating shelves, and we've got sort of a 3-sided section here, and we've installed a cleat on the wall, and that cleat will accept the dado in the back of the shelf so that you don't see any fasteners or no brackets are required.
And they don't want to see brackets because they want to sort of keep this clean look, and you get it with the shiplap. You know, it's sort of a modern look, so it makes sense. This is the shelf right here?
Yeah, so what we got is we made two pieces of 5-quarter oak, and we glued that together.
So you get a nice big beefy...
2-inch thick, right? And then we ran this through the table saw with the dado blade and created that slot all the way through the back and the 2 sides.
Gotcha.
So then after that, to conceal the front, we just applied a full-size nosing all the way in the front so it looks like one piece of wood. So we've got holes pre-drilled already.
So these are pre-drilled holes. Are you lined up to hit studs?
Actually, no, because we have 3/4-inch poplar on the back wall here attached to 3/4-inch plywood. So we got 1.5 inches of material back there. All right, so before we put the shelf in, because these walls are finish painted and we've got a real tight tolerance, I'm just going to put tape on either side so that we don't mar that paint. We'll start with the bottom shelf. All right, so these are labeled. Here we go right here, bottom, and this is the top.
Okay, so I'm aiming for that side bracket to go right there.
Yep.
All right.
So this thing is very snug. So we're gonna get real close with it. And we gotta go in perfectly parallel, otherwise it'll bind. Okay, you on?
I'm on.
Okay.
Hang on, let me get a little faster. Love how tight that fit is. It is rock solid.
Looks good too, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So that countertop will be the exact same material, same thickness.
Wow, that is a great look. I love it.
So now we gotta do the mantle.
All right.
So similar idea, we want the floating look, solid piece of oak, a little bit thicker, so we're at 3 inches now. So a little different technique. Yeah, that's the cleat.
That's a big cleat.
So we have a lot of mantle to hold up. So what we did was we cut out the backer of the poplar there, and we had a lot of solid blocking. So we basically took that cleat and attached it back to a piece of 3/4, screwed through the back. We actually put 5-inch screws, so we have screws that all the way come to the front of this cleat. And then a lot of glue. We put it back in against the solid block, and we screwed top and bottom all the way across.
So you had space to screw there and space to screw underneath here.
Exactly.
So now this is the one that's really not going anywhere.
Oh, that thing's not going anywhere.
All right, so let's take a look at what you're putting on it. Oh, that's
so
heavy.
You look at it, and it looks like it's one piece of material, and that's because it really is. But we V-folded it. So this piece is actually 2 pieces mitered, but it came out of the same board, so that gives the appearance that it's the same piece of wood.
And what we're looking at
I'll give you a little better example here. You can see that we mitered these corners, we mitered the back, the front, every which way is mitered, so that this will slip right over that cleat.
Okay. Come to me about 1/8. Get that. Love that look right there, Jeff, too. I mean, 3 shelves on that side, 3 on this side, mantle, everything's floating. Great look.
Yeah, we got 2 countertops to go, and then we're ready for a TV.
Beautiful. Nice job.
You may recall that our ranch house had knotty pine in just about every room. Jeff and Tom saved some of it, but at least one room in this house will pay homage to that mid-century wall covering.
So it's a little beat up. We've got to clean up the edges and resurface it, but we're going to make it into a wainscot wall in one of the kids' playrooms.
Okay.
So you want to give me a hand?
Sure.
All right. So first thing, I'm just going to cut it to lengths that we can manage. All right. So you notice that the edges of this are pretty beat up. So I think the first thing we'll do is run it through the table saw and get a clean edge on each side.
And you're going to save as much of this width as possible?
Yeah, we'll max it right out.
Great.
All right, now let's run them through the planer.
All right.
So, Norm, this stuff is really patinaed over 50 years.
Right.
So I think this is the best way to clean it up.
And it'll flatten the surface a bit if it needs it.
Right.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, that looks a lot better. So next thing we'll do is we're going to set up on a router table here 2 different sized rabbets so that when we put them together, we end up with that nickel gap.
Right, so you have one that's wider than the other one. Pretty simple.
Right? So we'll start with the shallow one first. So now we set up for the deeper rabbet, and all we're going to do is advance this board over the thickness of our nickel gap. So Norm, this is the kids' playroom, and this is the room we chose to do the wainscot treatment. So we've got this set up so that this wall is plywooded up to about 36 inches, so we've got a good substrate to attach to. Right. So I think what we'll do is we'll just run a couple horizontal beads of adhesive here, and then we'll just rely on the pin nails to keep it in temporarily.
Sounds good. Narrow piece. Yeah, it's right on the edge.
All right.
That's great.
So then to finish it, we're going to put a paint grade cap right on top there to conceal that. And this will get painted white. The base will get painted white, and then we're going to whitewash the pine. And then this will be paint.
All right. It's going to look great when it's done, and it's a good use of old material.
Yeah.
This year's apprentices, Catherine and Deshawn, are taking a break from the Westerly project for a 2-week trip up here to Maine. But it's not a camping trip. They've come to a special school that teaches everything from conventional home building to timber framing. The Shelter Institute is a school that teaches how to build smart, energy-efficient homes.
This afternoon, what we're going to do is illustrated nicely on page 121 in the notebook.
Mary, who apprenticed for us on our last Rhode Island project, became an instructor here last year.
There we go.
Mary, this is a big treat for us to come up here and find you working at the Institute. And you've got a bit of a history with this place.
Yeah, I do. So I took a 2-week home building course here a couple years ago and took a timber frame course here actually about a month before I came to apprentice for you guys.
Right, and then you spent 2-3 months with us on the job site.
Right.
How did you end up back here?
So I actually got an email from Shelter shortly after I got home to Mississippi that they were looking for a timber frame intern, so the timing just worked out perfectly.
You jumped on it, huh?
Yeah.
Now that you're here, what are you doing every day? What are your responsibilities?
So a lot of days I'm here in the shop. We build custom timber frames. We also teach timber framing, so we build structures like this one here.
And what am I looking at? How do you describe this?
So this is a 24 by 24 post and beam structure that we build during a 5-day class built by students.
Very cool. So do you love it? I mean...
I love it so much.
Do you?
It's a perfect combination of artistry and building. So.
When we met, you had your cake business.
Yes.
Very accomplished, very successful in that, but you told yourself you wanted to be in the trades. How does it feel to sort of met that goal?
Yeah, really fulfilling. It's really nice too that teaching has been a part of that. I never dreamt I would have gotten the opportunity to do that as well. So.
You had mentioned that one of the first things you did when you got here was ended up on a job site for a timber frame addition.
Yes.
How well did Jeff Sweenor prepare you for that?
You know what? Very well. It was nice coming from 2.5 months on a job site in Rhode Island to the job site here. I definitely had the gear for it and the
Did
knowledge.
you have the attitude?
I did. You know, working with all those Yankees, they toughen you up. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And now we've got 2 new apprentices, Catherine and Deshawn. They're here.
Yes.
You see them?
We're thrilled to have Catherine and Deshawn here, yeah.
And you're now part of that sort of continuation of the whole thing. How does that feel?
Great. It's definitely fulfilling.
You gonna treat them well for us? Teach them hard?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, congrats, Mary. We're glad you found your place.
Thank you so much.
Case, you have located the Institute in a beautiful spot. This is awesome. Tell me about what you've got here.
The Institute started in 1974 during the first oil crisis, teaching people to design and build energy-efficient homes, and that was the real emphasis at that time. We've evolved quite a bit through the years, and today we take a more holistic look at the entire building. We start with building driveways, move into foundations, framing systems, talk about wiring and plumbing, all of the details that would culminate in a house that someone would love to live in.
And who are you teaching, and what's the curriculum
I'm
like?
giving you an overview, and then we're going to dig
We
deeper.
have people that have just retired that are looking to move into the next phase of life. We have people who are between jobs. We have people who are thinking about building a house. And they are from all walks of life in all different parts of the country, all different ages. It's amazing to me, every class, the range of people that are there and also the reasons that they're here.
Do be conscious of how much these building materials are obviously
They want to
going
understand
cost you.
what's going on in their house. You know, when the lights go out, they want to know why and what to do to fix it. When they get an ice dam in the wintertime, again, what's going on there? What can we do to fix that?
So you have 2 of our apprentices with you. What's their curriculum like?
It's very busy, so they'll be starting each day around 7:30 and not finishing till about 7:30 p.m. Usually we start out in our shop with a more hands-on setting, and then we'll move back up into our classroom.
It's definitely intense, but I like it because it's not just like a ABC 1, 2, 3 on building. It actually forces you to analyze things a little bit more when making your decisions and building a property or a home.
All day long you are creating something, and you get that feeling of instant gratification, and at the end of the day you have created something that's very real.
When I came to the first day, they gave me the feel that I can already accomplish what's coming to me. Like telling me that everything that I'm going to build is going to be something amazing, it's going to be something spectacular, but there's rules.
I've been waiting for this course. It's very important to me, and just because it's in my field and wanting to expand what I know in the building industry, I want to be able to take as much as I can from this and leave filled with like 100% competent that I could go out and do this myself.
Thank you for what you do here at the Institute and have done with your family for so long. And thank you for the invitation to join you.
Thanks, Kevin.
And for taking care of our apprentices.
It's been a pleasure.
This was the house of Joshua Babcock, a businessman, a doctor, and a major general in America's war for independence. Babcock was a friend of Benjamin Franklin, and his house is one of those special places where you can accurately say George Washington slept here. Linda Chafee is one of the trustees here at the house. Linda, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
I'd love to hear about the house. Built when?
1734. You know, when it was built, George Washington was only 2 years old.
Wow.
So it's been around a long time.
And built for who?
It was built for Joshua Babcock. He is one of our very famous early citizens. He was a founding fellow of Brown University, the first Rhode Island graduate from Yale. He did a little bit of everything. So we're very proud of Joshua.
And does the house that he built reflect his stature in the community?
It does. It qualifies as a mansion in this era. Has very high ceilings for the time. You know, anybody who could afford enough fuel to keep these big rooms warm had to be wealthy. You have high ceilings. We have wide board floors. We have lovely woodwork. Our corner cupboard is beyond compare. And the front hall is just gorgeous with its railing that goes up, and the newel post is just a work of art in itself. It's just excellent. So we like this house because it captures the history of Westerly in the 1700s, the 1800s, and with our new granite museum, it takes it into the 1900s. So somebody who comes here gets a broad view of history in Westerly.
Right. So good construction has lasted over the
Yeah,
centuries.
it has.
And is still telling stories thanks to your guys' efforts.
Yeah, we're trying.
Okay.
We're trying.
Well, thank you very much for
Thank
giving
you
us
for
a
coming
tour.
to see us.
Absolutely. 130 years after the Babcock House was built, Westerly became known for something else. Tourists. Victorian homes sprouted up and celebrities escaping Newport's spotlight hid behind Westerly's hedgerows. Clark Gable and Henry Ford were residents. And today, so too are Taylor Swift and Conan O'Brien. Jack, nice to meet you.
How are you?
I am well. I appreciate you picking me up
Nice
and
day for you.
showing me around. Well, this is a little gem of a car you have here.
Yeah. Just to take people from the train station to the hotel.
And what is it?
This is a 1913 Model T depot hat.
Wow. So train station and hotel was, says a lot of people came here as tourists to visit this area.
The Watch Hill went from having a lighthouse and farming to large hotels, steamboats, and then it became a cottage colony.
And
So
what are we at now?
we're coming down to Watch Hill Point, and in front of us is the lighthouse.
Well, Jack, you've got a beautiful spot right here. I really appreciate you showing us around and bringing out the old beauty for it.
Well, thanks. Thanks for coming.
If Watch Hill is for the upper crust, Musquamanet Beach is for the rest of us. This 7-mile stretch of sand attracts people from all over New England. I think I know the answer, but what's the attraction?
It's the water. It's the beach. It's the great times. It's the memories. It's the experience. We're a great section of Rhode Island and coastal Rhode Island.
Our project house is 2 miles directly up the hill from here. A nice bike ride in the summer.
Hey, John.
Hey, good morning, Jen.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
So we're starting the steps today.
We are starting the steps today. This is the front entry to the house.
Okay.
A little more formal than the steps that are going to happen in the back of the house.
Right.
Here we start with a landing. There's going to be a couple of steps here. We've laid out the rest of the walkway. We have 3 more steps in this location that'll match those. And the walk continues to this side door and then to the front door.
I like how you sprayed out the white lines. That's going to indicate where the walkway goes.
Exactly. It's 4.5 feet wide. It's about 7 feet wide here. Creates a nice entry space.
Okay, so this is a nice level landing. And this is going to be the bluestone walkway all the way down. It looks like you use a couple less steps than I had on the plan.
Right. We had to take into account the grading at the bottom of that step, then 7-inch risers, the grade at the street, and from there we determine how many steps we need.
And in the design build process, things do change on site, so it's always important to take grades. And this story pole is really great in showing us and telling us the story of what's going to happen here. This line indicates the top level of that's going to be the bluestone landing at the top where we were just standing. This indicates the pitch of the slope, so the walkway is going to pitch about 3.5 inches over 62 feet. And then as you continue down, each of these indicate the top of each riser of steps, and they indicate the number of steps we have.
So now we're moving the stone into position. The guys are going to put some mortar on top of
the block
here
right.
to create a setting bed. And we score the bottom of the tread in different directions. There's no particular pattern. What we want to do is create some depth so that the mortar will push up into this and help it from shifting laterally in the winter time.
That makes sense. It's just like pottery.
So right now we're getting ready to put the glue on the bottom of the tread, and that's a thinner mixture than the thicker setting bed.
You could really see the difference. It's more liquid.
Right. They're setting it. They bring it to that line we talked about. It's going to go right in perfectly.
So what about that granite?
That's out back. Let's take a look.
All right.
Hey, good morning, Shayla.
Hi, John. Hi, Jen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, we're installing steps for you today. We started out front. Now we're going to start in the back here with the Westerly granite steps.
And these are the ones that we saw in the quarry and being cut. Nice smooth top, tread surface, the rock face front. They're beautiful.
The way we install these steps is we dig out the native earth, we backfill with gravel, We compact that gravel, we add a little sand so that we can shim the bottom, get the pitch correct, set the first step. So now that we're ready to install the second step, we're going to use this contraption here. This is a vacuum lift. It's a new way that